Greetings and salutations, everybody. My name is MiAh the King, and today we're looking at a game fresh off the presses on Steam that came out yesterday called Iron Danger. Iron Danger is a tactical combat game with a unique time manipulation mechanic, a never-before-seen combination that combines the tactical depth of turn-based games with the exciting action of real-time games, says the Steam store page. There. That's enough, right? To explain the game, I mean, it's about right, I suppose. While playing the game, I did get a little bit of the story, but it was a bit confusing. I'm not putting it down or anything, just making a comment. So let's go ahead and get right into this. But side note, before we do that, please like, comment, and subscribe. Each little bit helps a whole lot more than you might think. Now then, Iron Danger. The name leaves a lot to the imagination, right? Now, I really get this game. Like, I get what they were trying to go for. And they did a damn good job. It was developed by Action Squad Studios and published by Daedalic Entertainment. I don't know who they are either, but who cares? No one, that's who. If you can make a good game, then who cares where you come from, or if it is your first game you're making. If it's good, then it's good. Now then, is this game good? Well, that's kind of difficult. I apologize if you hear weird things in the background. I'm not home alone recording right now. But anyway, let's break it down. How are its graphics? Well, they are pretty nice. I mean, it's not like they were going for next-gen badass graphics or anything. So the art style they chose to go with here is actually very pleasant. It might not look good on my footage, but trust me, it actually looks really good when you're playing it. What about the sounds and music? Well, its music is very nice. It kind of fades into the background, but in a good way. Like, each musical symphony for each moment fits the game perfectly. Its other sound effects? Well, they sound on point. I mean, sword hitting metal, fire burning in the background, explosions, magical castings. It all sounds as it should. Very nice. And then the voice acting. Oh yeah, they have that here. And the voice acting is also actually really nice. At first I thought it sounded a bit off, but as I got deeper into the game I realized that the voice actors are giving it their all, and it all sounded pretty good to mine ears. None of the voices seemed out of place, no one seemed like they were just phoning it in, so, you know, all good. Now, what about the stability? Well, it's pretty stable, at least it was when I was playing it. There was never any screen tearing, no crashes or freezing, no hard or long loading times, so no real complaints there. How about the gameplay? Well, that's where we get into the thick of it, because its gameplay is very unique and interesting. Now, I don't really know what it is with games lately, having to use some kind of time control mechanic. It is kind of nice to see all these games coming out with these different ideas and whatnot. Sometimes they're really unique and interesting, and other times they're just really lazy and bland. Well, time control is a good idea if it can be done right. That's the problem I've seen lately, doing it right. And this is another game that I think just didn't do it quite right. Don't get me wrong, it's a good fun idea, and it almost works here, but there are a few problems with it. Basically, the style is similar to games like Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, Pillars of Eternity. You have this top-down, isometric view of your characters, click to move, click to attack, other click to examine things, switching between characters as you battle, and to be honest, I feel like if they had just done the normal, like those other legendary games have done, and then added a kind of more controllable, understandable type of time control mechanic, it would have worked a lot better. But the game's time control mechanic is really weird and awkward and just annoying. It goes based on heartbeats, right? So you have these segments of time acknowledged by your character's heartbeat. If they die in a certain way, you can bounce back and then change course. Reverse time. Not a bad idea, and at first I was really liking it. As the combat set in and it wasn't just random traps killing me, I was starting to get into it, It was a bit awkward, but I was willing to keep going and give it a chance. But as I progressed further to some more challenging combat, I realized how it's not very well thought out. So, let me go into this. So be patient with me here and just try to open your minds and understand what I'm saying here, because it'll get a little convoluted here. So, you're controlling two characters, and you get into a fight with 2, maybe 3 monsters. The game never tells you how to heal, by the way, or at least it didn't in my hour of gameplay. So I go into this fight with half health. Oh, and that's another thing. This game does give you a bit of a tutorial, which is nice, by the way. But I wish they had gone a bit further in depth with it, because I'm still walking away confused. But anyway, I digress. So, with half health, you're fighting 2 monsters. The girl has fire powers, the guy has melee powers. Both die in the span of a heartbeat. So you rewind and tell one of them to block or dodge. But then time resumes and the other still died. So then you gotta go back to save that person, and luckily the first one still follows your original command. But that was just for one heartbeat of the battle. Imagine having to do that 30 times per fight. Well, you better, because that's how it is. And since you can't control both of them in the span of one time stop, you'll frequently be rewinding to save both lives. You can only control this heartbeat time mechanism, by the way, outside of battle. Inside of battle, you can't control it. The game does it for you. This is highly frustrating. At least in Pillars of Eternity, I could pause my game for as long as I wanted and make corrections or make strategies or whatever. But here, it's constantly unpausing, watching something bad happen, rewinding, fixing it, and then doing it again. It tries to help you by pausing every time the enemy does something, but it doesn't matter. It's asking you to control two people at once during that pause, which is 100% impossible. So you will always find yourself rewinding. So yeah, about 30 times a fight, you're going to rewind, correct action, until you finally win that fight. And that was just for one fight. It kind of takes the epicness of winning that fight away from you anyway. I mean, can you be a bigger cheater than just rewinding every time you lose and try again? I mean, in the middle of a fight, nonetheless? Shameless. But no, seriously, it's got a good idea, but it just wasn't executed correctly in my humble opinion. It's so annoying. And after my first few fights, I just couldn't keep going anymore. It was driving me insane. Everything was taking way too long. Everything was so damn redundant. It was just the same things over and over again. And the story just simply wasn't interesting enough to keep me hooked to try and master this really weird mechanic. Speaking of story, that's where we're going next. So, where are you? What are you doing there? And why? Oh, and who are you? Well, those things are all very barely explained. The game doesn't have any kind of opening scene, no cutscene or narrative or crawl or nothing. It just plops you down in the middle of this room talking to some old guy. And you start off telling your story, which then takes you into a flashback mode where now you're playing the past, story from, way before ago. You're some girl who is in some random village that's being attacked by northerners, I think. What kingdom are you in? No idea. Who's that guy who's helping you? Is he important or special to you? No. He's just some guy from your village? Got it. Where are you going? Here? Okay. But where is here? Why? 'Cause these northerners attacked? Okay. Got it. Gotta warn some guy. Didn't even say if he's a king, priest, emperor, or what. He's just some guy we gotta warn. So, I'm playing some unknown girl and some unknown guy. They are being attacked by northerners for some reason. So now they have to flee and let some other random guy know about it. That's about the gist of what I got from the first hour of story. Oh, and the girl is some chosen one or some shit. But I mean, yeah, not very interesting, to be honest. Maybe it takes a bit longer to really get into it, but for me, you can't just do something like that with a gameplay mechanic that isn't vetted. You either need to have a kick-ass story or a kick-ass gameplay to really hook people in within the first 2 hours of gameplay. And just being unique and different doesn't cut it. Neither the story nor the gameplay are kick-ass enough to keep me hooked, at least in my opinion. Now, this game isn't in early access. I feel I should point that out. It is fully released. Now, they may make updates to fix some things, but I'm afraid this game just isn't for me. They can't fix a gameplay thing like this. They can't change that. It would ruin their whole game. And I'm not going to ask them to change it for me either. It's just not for me. That time mechanic is really interesting, and I think with a few tweaks it could be awesome, but as it is now, I just can't stand it. Maybe it's just me, and maybe you'll really enjoy it, but I don't. Now, I'm not condemning the game. I do like the game. I think they put a lot of time and effort into it. But, damn, that mechanic. It ruins it all for me. And from what I've seen online, there are others who really can't get behind it. But, there are also others out there who seem to love it, and by all means, if you think it's a cool idea, and if you like what you see here and what you're listening to now, then by all means, feel free to try out the game for yourself. Hell, I'd love to hear what you guys out there have to say about it. If you love it, tell me why. Tell me what it is about the game that really speaks to you, and maybe I'll take another look at it. But for now, that's all I got, everybody. I just wanted people to understand more about what they were getting themselves into. I was in the dark here and had no idea what to expect. Can't trust those Steam store pages, am I right? But hey, it sounded interesting and it looked interesting, and I'd say they got a whole lot right with the game. But I simply can't get past that really weird time control combat mechanic. It bugs the absolute shit out of me, and I can't stand it. But their storytelling wasn't too bad. With more time, it would probably have gotten better, and, if they had put a little more effort into the beginning of introducing you and, setting up the world around you, then I would have had no problem with their storytelling. And I mean, almost everything else they did was really well done. But that one little mechanic ruined it for me. And you know, that's just me. Like I said, it sounds like if it sounds good to you, then please go check them out and show them some support. It's just not my kind of game with that stupid mechanic there. And you know, if you can get over that, or if you're willing to try to master that mechanic, or you know, whatever, then have no fear. The sounds are on point, the graphics are on point, the voice acting is on point, and the story is shrouded in a lot of mystery and a lot of unknowns. So you know, this could be the game for you if you can just get past that really weird combat time control mechanic. So that's all I got, everybody. Thanks a bunch to all of you out there who checked out this video. I hope I helped you understand the game, save some money, or at least be entertained. And I hope to see you all again on my next adventure. So until then, I bid you farewell.